Well, I want to welcome everybody today to the EntreprenHer Show. My name is Heidi Richards-Mooney, and I am your host today. I am the editor of We Magazine for Women, as well as the founder and CEO of Women in E-Commerce. And in addition to all of the lovely things I'm going to share with you about our next guest, she is actually a past Who's Who in E-Commerce award honoree. So I want to again congratulate you on that, Michele. And let me tell my audience a little bit about you. This is just a very little bit. Michele Scism is a leading authority on social media and online marketing and the founder of both DecisiveMinds.com and the Global Social Media Managers Association. Her clients call her the Results Lady because as a business strategist, uses her signature Take Action, Get Profits system to help entrepreneurs turn their passion into expert status and then profits. During today's interview, she will share her strategies to show our audience how to get paid what you're worth. So welcome, Michele.
Oh, I'm so glad to be here, Heidi. This is going to be fun.
It is. It's going to be a great. So I know I told them a little bit about you, but tell us a little bit about your background and how you became known as the Results Lady.
Maybe I demand them. I don't know about that. I will. I actually have the story on how I got named that. I literally named that by a woman at an event one day. But my background is, entrepreneur since birth, or serial entrepreneur might be a better classification. I was born into a family that had kids to guarantee they had employees. And we had, when I was born, we had a grocery store, mobile home park, an RV park, a wrecker service, and my dad started a trucking company when I was 7. And wow. I went to college, got my accounting degree, started working at 5 in the grocery store because that was when I was tall enough to see over the top of the grocery bags to bag them. And went to school, got an accounting degree, came out of school and spent majority of my 20s, 30s, and early 40s building that trucking company to a point where we sold it in 2007 and my family retired. We sold all of our businesses that year. And so that was, I thought at that point I would just be traveling the world doing what I wanted to do. And I forgot a couple of things. My kids were still in high school. My husband had his own business and I found myself pretty much on the couch and just lost, didn't know what to do. I'd spent my entire life building businesses. And so one day I ended up at an event I heard about that was out in California. And I met a man who was standing on stage teaching people how to build businesses. And I could complete every sentence he started, right? I went up to him at one point and said, listen, can you just teach me how to make money doing what you do? Because I can do what you do. And so that was it. That was January 2010. Decisive Minds was born. And I found out about the world of coaching and consulting. And so now I've built Decisive Minds. We did about $750,000 last year, our 5th year in business. And, it's just, I love it. I love business. I am one of those people that, I eat, sleep, dream, everything is about business for me. My entire family is that way. So it's just really in my blood. And now I get to not only build my own business, but build all these businesses with my clients. And it's so much fun. So that's how I got here. And then the quick story about the Results Lady. I was at an event back in 2010 or 11, and a woman, I'm a little direct but kind. I'm Southern, right? And so I met this woman and she's telling me all about this book she's going to write. And she's going to do this and she's going to do that. And she's going to do this. And she finished talking and I said, well, where's the book? And she said, well, I haven't written it yet. I'm going to write it. I said, well, what are you waiting on? Just go do it. And so the next morning she comes running up to me in the hall and she grabs me by the shoulders and she says, oh my God, I got in my room last night. I wrote all the outline for my book. I'll be finished with my book at the end of the month. You should call yourself the Results Lady. And there it was. So wow. I've been the Results Lady ever since. So
that's so perfect. And when other people name you that, it must be so.
That's right. That's exactly right. So there's no argument about it now.
That is so cool. I know I've known you for a long time online. I'm hearing a little bit of an echo. Do you hear it? Do you hear an echo?
Slightly.
Okay. If it's not bothering you, I guess it'll be okay for the recording. We'll hope.
Okay.
Yeah, it's funny. It sounds like obviously entrepreneurship is in your genes. So,
Yeah.
and I think it's so great when you are born into a family like that, because so many people struggle with, they want to be entrepreneurs, but they don't really know where to start. And I think what I want to start with, though, and I think I want to get into that discussion is, I know that business owners, and especially women, we sometimes struggle with getting paid what we're worth. Why do you think we question our own value?
I think that I can talk about it from a Southern woman's aspect first, and that is that I was raised in a society where most women were told, just be nice, right? Don't go out there and do. And I will tell you, I got really lucky that I was raised by the family I was, because I was expected to stand up for myself. I was expected to go out and look for the best and expect the best and all of that. So I actually came into this world, into the world I'm in right now, and found a little shock in the fact that people weren't charging what they were worth. So I think that there's a lot of stuff, a lot of background that comes in from the whole thought process of it. What I know is the reality is that what I see entrepreneurs doing is they look at other people who are doing what they're doing. So let's say that you are a life coach, or you look at someone else who's been doing it for 20 years and they only charge this much, so I couldn't charge more than them. Or you look at this other person who has 14 initials behind their name because they've got all these certifications and degrees, and you say, well, I couldn't charge more than them, right? I see that happening all the time. And that is absolutely not the way we price anything in business. So yeah, I think that's really the main issue, is this comparison thing we got going on with other people.
I think you're absolutely right. I think that, so is there a process or a system to start increasing our value in the marketplace? And if so, what is it? What is it?
Yeah, absolutely. So, when we look at pricing, really pricing in business is done from a couple of different aspects. One of them is to go out and compete on price. That is the Walmart model. We're not looking for that. And my clients, the majority of my clients are in the coaching world. We're not looking for the Walmart model. We're not looking to be the cheapest thing in town so we can go out and find the millions. Okay. So there's a space for competition and price. There's also competing on value, which is really where we want to stand. That is the examples we see of that are Starbucks, right? So the $7 Starbucks coffee versus the $1.50, $2 McDonald's coffee. They're competing on value. At Starbucks, they've created a location. They've created a feeling. People want to be involved, right? There's something that they have created there. They've determined, they've taught their audience that there is value in going to Starbucks and getting a $7 coffee, which instead of that $2 coffee at McDonald's, right? So when we look at it, first we have to choose, are we going to compete on price or are we going to compete on value? When we make a statement like, well, this person only charges $100 an hour, so I could never charge more than them because they've been around for 20 years. That is competing on price. That's not competing on value. What I want you to look at is, what is the result that you're getting for your client? And what is that result worth, right? So what are they going to be willing to pay you to get that result? That's how you determine how to price on value.
And it's funny you say that, because I can remember when I first started, I've been a business owner for 34 years. And before that, I'm like you, a serial entrepreneur. My first job, I was 5 years old and I had my little red wagon and I went around the neighborhood collecting Coke bottles. Very good. That was back when you could turn them in for a penny or 2 cents a piece. And that was my real first business. And I dragged my 2-year-old little brother around. He was in the wagon and he was my sales strategy. He was like a cute puppy. Yeah. People always want to support a cute puppy. Well, he was an adorable little boy. So I drug him everywhere, and we made, for little kids, we probably made $4 or $5 a week collecting, pop bottles. And so that's when I learned about entrepreneurship and, how you can negotiate with people. But not everybody has it in their blood. And I think, and I know for many years I did not charge what I was worth. I a lot of times competed on price, I guess, because that's what I thought I had to do. And I think a lot of people think that, that's the only thing that sets you apart sometimes, but it really isn't. There's a lot of things. So what are some of the things that can set you apart, say from another company doing something similar, that could give you the edge to, increase your pricing in the marketplace and your value?
Yeah, I think for us as entrepreneurs, there's a couple of shifts for us. And the first is really to get clear that for you to help this other person, they have to hire you. For your widget to help this other person, they have to buy it, right? It's to get clear on the fact that when there is value exchanged, there is money exchanged. So I think there's a shift there for a lot of entrepreneurs. So that's number one. To look at the experience that you've had. So if we're speaking to, the majority of my world out there are coaches. And if we're speaking to them, and a lot of them are maybe they are a business coach. What is it in your experience that you've been through? Have you built businesses? Have you sold businesses? When we look at my differentiator, the facts are what differentiates me from most business coaches is because I've literally owned businesses. I sold a business for $9 million, right? So what is it about you that makes that difference? It is not always that you've got this different certification or you've gone to college. There are other differentiators to make you unique. The second thing is really to look at what experience, what changes have you made for other people that you've worked with? So have you improved marriages? Have you improved relationships with their children? Whatever that is that you are doing, then it's to look at how do you monetize that? Because a lot of times those coaches come to me and they say, yeah, it's real easy for you, Michele, because you're out here showing me how to make money. So you can say working with you results in this amount of money. Well, what I want, if you're a life coach, for example, and let's say that you work with parents and teens, I want you to look at what is the value conversation that you can have with that parent that says, what is it worth to you to come home and not fight with your child? What is that worth, right? There's lots of monetary aspects to that as well, because a happy child, a happy parent, there's less things spent on maybe therapy. I don't know, right? There's different things out there, different ways for you to look at how you are adding value to them, whether it's in their business or their life or whatever that looks like. So we want to step back. I think it's just kind of a shift in the thinking, Heidi, and what we see as how we're bringing value to those clients. So there you go.
Well, and I think probably giving people peace of mind makes a huge difference, no matter what you do, whether it's life, business, any type of coaching, consulting, because I don't consider myself a coach because I'm not a cheerleader type person. I'm not there to hold your hand, but I can consult and I can train, and that's what I enjoy doing. So I tried the coaching and I just was not very good at it.
Yeah.
I didn't get, and so I have coaches. I love working with coaches, and I've worked with a lot of them to see if maybe I could. And I just realized that is not my gift. But once you find out, I think you really nailed it, because you talk about value, and we really have to sit down and figure out what it is that brings. I do web design. What makes me different than any other WordPress web designer? Well, my clients tell me it's because they trust me. They don't need to worry. They give me the job, it gets done. They don't have to, hold my hand and wonder if it's getting done and how long it's going to take, because I've proven it. But there's so many people in my space. And when I first started, I can remember charging, being like giving these unbelievable prices just to get the business. Well, now I can charge a lot more. And I do, because I know the value. Yeah. It's not, and I think you have to get over that hump of feeling guilty about charging more too. I think people do, because I know I did. I felt like, gosh, is it really worth? What would I pay? And then I say, well, maybe it shouldn't go by what I would pay, because I'm always looking for a coupon, good deal,
You have to learn to have the conversation. You have to be able to articulate what it is that you bring to them and the value that you bring to them. And I think that's another big issue that I see for entrepreneurs, is that it's just not, it's not natural. We did not go to school to learn how to do that, right? So takes a little practice, takes some knowledge and some key differentiators in how you talk to people. So yeah, definitely.
So watch really good people like you and learn from them. Let's talk a little bit about giving away our time. In your opinion, is it demeaning or devaluing? And if so, how can we reposition that to not be the case? In other words, say we want to offer free consulting or some of our time for free as part of our marketing strategy. How would you recommend we position that offer?
So, I think that it has its place. I want you to be careful because, I also feel like if I tell people it's okay to do stuff for free, they're going to go crazy and won't have any paying clients. Right. So we're not saying that. Let's get that out there clear first. However, when I look at my marketing strategies, I have a free consultation as part of my strategy. Often I am speaking, we have an assessment that entrepreneurs can take on our website. And after those opportunities, we offer them a free strategy session to have a conversation about what's going on in their business right now. And then that also we have a conversation about how we could work together. I think that definitely has a place in its marketing. I also believe in giving back, right? So just remember, though, that if you're not paying your own bills, you need to give back to you first. So be sure you've got paying clients. But I think there's space for us to be doing certain things that are considered giving back.
I like that. If you're not paying your own bills, you get back to yourself first. Right. I love that. That is a keeper. Yeah. I'm definitely going to quote you on that. So thank you for that, because I think that sometimes people need permission to do things one way or another, whether it be charge or not charge, to give away or not to give away. And sometimes they just need to hear that message several times before they finally get it. I know for me that was the case. And always being in retail and then going from retail to consulting was a huge shift for me. And I think some people do that. You go from being in this career, because I interviewed Deanna Mayo yesterday, and she was in the corporate world for many years now. She's a coach and a consultant. And, to make that shift from a totally different world, and now you're working with that world in a different way, it can be a little scary. But I think if you've got, as you said, the expertise and you bring a lot of value, it can be done. Let's talk about some of the tools you recommend business owners use to increase their value in the marketplace.
Well, so I think that, if I look at what we've done with Decisive Minds in using things like assessments, and the assessment is being used to give the prospect, the person who's showing up in your world, the opportunity to take a real look at the things going on in their life. So, we have an assessment, obviously, about how your business is, and it's got 4 different sections, and you answer those questions, and you get a feel for where are the problems, where are the holes, because some of the stuff in your business you're doing great, and some of it you need to work on. And so I really want someone to get clear on what those pieces are so they can move forward. I love assessments, and I think that it's a powerful tool for people to use, whether, if we go back as far as, I love Zig Ziglar and I listen to a lot of his stuff. And so one of the things I listen to from Zig all the time, and he talks about back when he was selling insurance, 60 years ago at this point, where they went in and did an assessment first, right? And then came back in and did and made their offer. So I think that's an amazing tool. A second tool is, I think, blogging. I know I don't have to get up on that platform here, but I want you to know the world wants to know what you know. Right? So another way to be seen as an expert, another way to raise your value is to be sharing your thought process and letting people know what it is that you know about your topic. Blogging is just an amazing way to get that done, get that out there. You should be blogging 2-3 times a week. And, it's an easily shared platform. It shares through social media. It's just so nice and easy. It works so very well. Don't get hung up on the fact that people aren't commenting. Doesn't mean anything. People don't comment that often these days. I don't know about you, Heidi, but that's kind of what we've been experiencing. But it drives massive traffic to my website. I don't care if you don't comment, as long as you showed up at my website. It's what I care about, right? It builds my list. That's what I care about. I want you on my list. So I think blogging is an amazing tool. And then obviously I have to say social media. You know, you've got to be using social media and platforms like, you know, Blab, great social media platform here. I'm loving this. This is super fun. My first time to be here. I am the big Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn kind of person. That's where I started. I love those spaces. My community is there. If we talk about social media, be sure you're building your community. Right? If I look back at Decisive Minds and I look back at 2010, and so, you know, I don't know if you know this about me, Heidi, but I am extremely shy and very introverted. And so that first year in business, I told my coach, I said, I'm not going anywhere in network. I'm not doing any of that. He wanted me to do webinar. I'm not speaking. I'm not networking. I'm going to make all this money from social media. Well, that didn't work, but that first year I made a whopping $12,000. I had just 3 years before sold a company for $9 million, and I spent 12 months working in this company and made $12,000. And the next year I went out and started speaking and added all these pieces to social media, and we did 6 figures the second year. But here's what I learned. Even though I didn't make much money that first year, what I did right was I built a community. I didn't know it. I didn't know that's what I was doing, but I did that. I think that's actually the year I met you, because I'm going to say that it was 2010 that I got that award from you, because I built those social media platforms. I was blogging and putting out information. I had a lot of people talking about me. Nobody was hiring me yet, but they were talking about me, right? So, you know, I think that social media for me, it is a great place for people to find me, to connect with me, and then to move them onto my list, bring them into a webinar. You know, I did say back in 2010, I didn't do any. At this point, I average about 200 speaking engagements a year now. You know, maybe 10 to 15% of them are in person, and the rest of them are like this. Lots and lots and lots of web-based interviews and me doing webcasts, and the value is hugely there, and it's something that's easily shared through social media. I could go on and on and on, Heidi. I'll stop there for you, though.
No, but I think you're absolutely right. And I want to just say this. We do have something in common, because I'm an introvert too. And people don't believe that because I'm out there and around. That's because I learned the same lessons you did a little earlier, though, I think in the early 2000s, that I still had to be in front of people, because we didn't have Facebook back in 2000. We didn't have any of the social media. So I had to get out there. So I was used to networking and stuff. And it paid off big, because when I did join social media, I was able to build my tribes and my communities really fast. And I totally agree with you. You have to work it. You can't just it's like putting up a shingle and expecting people to walk through the door. Same thing with social media. Just because you get a space on social media, unless you're a celebrity, people are not going to find you. So you do have to work it. Yeah. And I love what you said about blogging being so insightful for people when they read it. I agree with you there. I mean, I can't disagree with anything you've said so far.
Good.
It's all true, you know?
Hey, I will tell you the truth straight up, whether you want to hear it or not. A lot of people
I love that about
it.
You know? And it was 2012 that you got our award, because that's what we did the first time, just so you know. Okay. 2012 was our first Who's Who. The assessment, I want to know a little bit more about, but we featured you a couple times on the magazine, because we started publishing it in 2006. So I know that you were in there a couple times. We might have even published some of your articles, and then we gave you the award in 2012 when I came up with that brilliant idea. Now we're going to do 2016. I'm very excited. So anybody listening, if you know any amazing women, hi Lily, thank you for joining. If you know of any amazing women, we're getting ready to publish our 2016 Who's Who in April. So March, I think 15th is our deadline for nominations. So, and Michele, a quick shout out to thank you for all the amazing women you've recently introduced me to, because I'm interviewing Valerie, I'm interviewing Candy, I think I interviewed Stephanie. I'm interviewing some of a wonderful client. So yay, I'm very excited. Thank you.
Awesome.
Thank you. I haven't gotten them all on the calendar because I kind of put my calendar on hold because we have an international conference in March. So I won't take any more interviews till we get back. But let's talk a little bit about assessments a little bit more. I want to go into that a little deeper because you mentioned assessments. So do you use a specific assessment tool, or are these assessments that you've created in-house yourself, or a combination of both?
I'm using a tool from the Virtual Training Academy. I also know some of my clients, I'm trying to think of I know there's a WordPress plugin or two for assessments that you can use. So it's kind of a mixture because we're using their platform, which is amazing. And we created the assessment ourselves, right? So originally, many years ago, I used one that was kind of like, we made it work, called Email Me Form. And so that was our very original assessment. And that one simply asked questions, and it was the fill in the blank kind of thing. The assessment now that I have is rank yourself from 1 to 10 kind of questions. And then you get a score at the end. So as people go through the assessment, they literally click send, and then they get an email that says, okay, your score was in this range. So this is what we know. This is where we think you should be working. And so, yeah, it's very cool. I'll tell you that assessments are designed to help the person find the holes. Okay. And I will also tell you, one of the secrets that we found is that you need to give them some easy yeses. They need to see some wins on their assessment as well, right? Because when it's nothing but, oh my God, nothing's working, it's too much for them. So just my little hint for you there. When you're designing your assessment, it is designed in a way for them to see the holes in whatever your topic is, but make sure that they can see that they're doing some things right. We're all doing some things right. Even when I wasn't making money that first year, I was doing something right. Right. So yeah, very good.
And so you created the questions and the words and everything to use in the assessment. I mean, the questions and the answers and all of that. And then you use a tool to deliver it, correct? Okay. Correct. Sounds wonderful. So everybody could implement that in their business. Doesn't really matter what type of business you're in. I think that assessments are brilliant. It's kind of like, it's like the next step from a questionnaire, because they're actually getting feedback.
Right.
I do questionnaires in my business all the time, but I don't use assessments. So you've given me a great idea to now find out where my clients, so they understand how working with me can work for better, to help them better.
Exactly. And when you go to have that conversation with them, that strategy session with them, or your free consultation, whatever you call it, if they've taken your assessment, then you can go down the assessment. You know ahead of time what it is that you need to be talking to them about. Right. So it really is a very strategic tool. If you go to decisiveassessment.com, I don't remember if it has an S on it or not. So Decisive Assessment or decisiveassessments.com, you'll see mine. And so I want you to look at the way we've kind of laid that out and how we've worded the questions. So it's a good example. It works very well. So it's a good example on how to use assessments in your business.
I'm adding it here. Or Decisive Assessments. I'll type it in the side so people can go there and check it out. Great tip. Thank you very much. So what's the one bit of advice that you'd like to share with our audience that you've not yet talked about, Michele?
So I think that, oh God, I could say so many things. This is what I'm going to say. You need to get committed. Like seriously, I see so many entrepreneurs, and I work with a lot of you guys, and 1 month you're focused on, I'm going to go out and this is what I'm going to sell, and these are who I want to sell to. And then, within 2 months, that's kind of hard. And so then I say, well, no, now I'm going to try webinars. And then a couple of months later, well, wait, but Michele, wait, I need to go try this, or I'm going to change my audience, right? Oh my God, people, we have to commit to one thing, and we got to run with it. And we have to stay committed at least 12 to 18 months. It's going to take you a minimum of that amount of time to get a toehold into that community of whatever it is you want. It doesn't matter what it is you want, right? So my biggest piece of advice for you, the success I see in my clients is because when they want to go running off the path, I go, but wait a minute, we're working on this. Right? We're not going to derail. We're not going to switch audiences completely, because the reality is that for most of us, it's not that it's not going to work. It is that when it got hard, we didn't quite go over the hump and do what's next. Right? So yeah, I think that's my big takeaway for today, is that you got to commit. You got to stay in the game.
So people give up a little too soon.
They do. They really do.
Yeah. I can see that. And I've done it too. I mean, I've switched audiences more than once. And but it's funny. And most of the reason I do is because that's how my clients show up like that. I start working in one niche, and then I start getting referrals from another niche that I know pretty well. And pretty soon I've got 3 or 4 clients in that niche. So I think, okay, I'm going to be that. Right now I'm working in the legal field, and I'm not a lawyer. I don't know anything about law. And she's got all these referrals for me, and I really enjoy working in it. So I thought, I always wanted to be a lawyer when I was younger. So now I'm thinking maybe that's where I'm going to end up, because I've worked with authors and inventors the last 3 years, and I really enjoy that because I love the creative mind, and I find a lot of them are creative but have no clue how to run a business.
Yeah.
So it's been a great resource. Lily mentioned that she had an assessment suggestion. So Lily, if you'd like to put that in the side over there in the messages, we'd love to know what assessment tool you use, because it's always good to have a variety of resources, for instance, to see which one will work best for our business. I'm sure that when I go to yours, Michele, I'm going to just say, oh gosh, I need something just like this. Help me.
And there are lots of tools. The idea is to go from the point of a strategy. I spent years teaching social media, and because it changes so often, I was constantly telling people, learn the strategy, find the buttons, right? Learn the strategy. So the strategy is to have something that helps people see where the holes are in whatever it is that you're working with them on, right? And to be able to take that information and then have a conversation with them that leads to, hopefully, let me help you fix those holes, right? And at the least, it leads to, here's some suggestions on how you can fix them. So that's the strategy. There's lots of different tools out there, and I would love to know what Lily has that she's using as an assessment. Very cool.
Yes, and I just posted I'd like to interview her. So Lily, I'm going to post how to get a hold of me. How do you self-evaluate? She says, interesting. And you know what? Some people don't ever look at themselves that closely.
That's right.
I have found most of my clients don't. They don't think that they're the ones with the problems. They just know what they don't know, or they don't know what they don't know, I guess, is more accurate. Yeah. So let's talk a little bit about websites, because I know you've been the social media guru for a long time. That's how I first met you, was through social media. Mm-hmm. But aside from your own website, what is your favorite website and why?
Oh my goodness, my favorite website and why. Oh, so I spent a lot of time on Mashable, because I am an info junkie, right? I need information, so I'm there a lot. Of course, the social media platforms, I am there often. Wow, what else? I don't know. That's a good question.
That's okay. Well, that's good. I mean, you probably have more than one, and it's a hard question. Most people can never answer with just one answer. So if you have more, I wrote Mashable. If there's others, feel free to share, because some people have never heard of Mashable. Yeah. Someone gave a site yesterday I had not heard of. Now, one of my favorites is Medium. I love Dose, but that's not really business, although they do have a lot of good business tips. I like the Content Marketing Association. I like all of them. I mean, I'm a content junkie.
There's a new one that I've been going to a lot when I'm doing research, and that is BuzzSumo. I love
BuzzSumo. Yeah. Let me put that down.
So if you are, if you're looking for a blog post idea, or you're I just wrote some new talk topics this week for some different talks I'm going to do. And you can go to BuzzSumo and look at what's trending, right? Put in your topic. It shows you what's trending. What's trending tells you what people are thinking, right?
Yeah.
And what they want to talk about. So then you kind of gear your stuff towards what's trending. And that's a brilliant marketing strategy. So I've spent a lot of time there lately. It's a great, fun place to be.
It is. Well, what I would say is that you want to give people what they want, not what you think they want.
Oh, because so good. That's really good.
What you think they want. I learned that the hard way too. I started creating all kinds of content for people that nobody would buy.
Yeah. I think that's another really big thing. I teach on that quite often, this whole idea of getting really good at knowing what your audience is looking for, what they think they need, what they think their fix is, and having that conversation. Actually, that's how I ended up teaching social media. That was never the plan for me to teach social media. It was always to build people's businesses. But what I realized really early on was that people had this thought that if they could just learn social media marketing, then they would have a business. They could build their business, right? And so that was kind of my doorway. I would get people into the door by having the conversation of how to use social media as a marketing tool. But then once they showed up, I could say, this is great. And social media absolutely is a marketing tool, but you don't even have a freebie out there. So it's going to be a waste of time if you don't use it to list build, or you don't know what you're selling. So how can you have this community of people and you have no way for them to buy from you? So I used it as the doorway or the window, whatever you want to call it, to get people's attention. And then I could have the conversation with them of what I knew that they needed to build their businesses. So yeah, great point, Heidi.
Yeah, and it's a good starting point. So let's talk about the one online resource that you just can't live without.
Oh, goodness. So I would say, well, the first thing is, Evernote.
I like
Oh
Evernote.
My God. So building a business the way I'm building it, I talk to a lot of people. I have over the last 6 years. We just had our 6th anniversary last month. With Evernote, I've got notes on everyone I've ever spoken to in there. I can just do a quick search and see if I've ever talked to them before. We use Infusionsoft. I've used Infusionsoft from day one. But Evernote is really where I spend my daily time. All of my coaching clients have their own file in Evernote. So I've got every conversation we've had in one space for the last however long they've worked with me. And I can go back and say, you said in September that you were going to do this and it's still not done. So whether that's good or bad for them is questionable, but they do get a lot done. It works for me. So yeah, absolutely. I'd be lost without Evernote. And I think, we are using so many of as a team. So I have 8 people that work for me now in Decisive Minds. We use Asana as our team place, right? Where we have all our tasks and all of that. We use a combination of Asana and then Google Drive, because in Google Drive, we can be editing. So if we're working on our marketing plans or our marketing emails or whatever that is, we can all be in there as a team working in that same document. So the combination of those two, that's something that opens on as soon as I open my computer every morning, Asana goes up and Google Drive is open, and Evernote, and then lots of other Google places. So yeah.
Oh my, I agree with you. I love my Google Drive. In fact, I don't know what I would do without it. And I just started using it a couple of years ago. I was really trying to avoid Google and Gmail and all of that. For a long time, I went, no, I don't. But now I found that it's just the negatives far outweigh the benefit. I mean, the benefits far outweigh any negative connotation you might have, because they really are there to help you.
Yeah, I agree. They've made it so easy. And what a brilliant business strategy. And yeah, so
I write a special report a month at least, and I use the Google Docs report template, and it formats beautifully. I don't have to do anything. I just can write and then rewrite, and I don't have to go through all the formatting. I can turn it into a PDF, and it's a beautifully displayed report. All I have to do is come up with a cover, and I think that is it's my favorite part of Google Docs, and Google Drive, of course, when you're collaborating is great. And Asana, I've heard of Asana. I don't use it. Of course, I love Evernote. I think that that's a great benefit when you think about the fact that you can have all the notes from early conversations. So we forget what we say.
Yeah, absolutely. I know I do.
and so when you're coaching people, I think that you can go back, and it also helps to give a linear a display of progress, which is good.
Mm-hmm.
So you can say, you know where you were when we first started working together, and because you can't leave it to your mind. Think about how many people you work with.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
It's possible to know exactly. So Melanie, welcome, and of course Carol, welcome. We've got a few people who joined us. This is wonderful. I see you've got a book behind you, Take the Risks or Get a Job. Tell us about that book, and then tell us a little bit about how you work with people and the kind of things, the services that you provide.
So that book I wrote that book last year, I believe. So it's been out for about a year now. Take the Risk or Get a Job. It is really my foot in the sand kind of thing. I drew the line and said, I am so tired of these people who are just playing. Jump in. Let's get in the game. Let's create a real business and not just run when things get a little tough. And so, I was on a stage. I was actually with Larry Winget. If you know Larry Winget.
I love Larry.
He said to me, Michele, what's your stand? What is it you want everybody to know? I said, if they don't start doing what it takes and taking the risk, they need to just get out of business. And he's like, great. I think you should write Take the Risk or Get a Job. And I was like, done. I'll write it. So that's how it came about. And it's really been a great book. And it talks about the 3 things that I say are keeping entrepreneurs from succeeding. And that is that they're cheap, they're lazy, and they're afraid. And the cheapness is that we don't charge what we're worth. And you and I started this conversation with that. The laziness is that we don't do the things that we absolutely have to do. We don't pick up the phone and make the phone calls and make the sales. We would much prefer go redo our website, right? So we gotta quit being lazy in the income producing activities focus. We gotta stay there. And then afraid is, I think that fear stops way too many entrepreneurs just right before they get to that moment of success, that hump that really gets them over. The fear of, whether it is the fear of picking up the phone or the fear of hiring that team member who could do your newsletter for you so that you can go do a speaking engagement or you can pick up the phone, right? So there are so many things that stop us. And that's what the book talks about. It talks about some of my experiences in running businesses, in the trucking company. There were plenty of times when things were really bad back in the early 90s when the bank called one day and said, we don't think you have a viable business. We want our $1.5 million back. Trust me, you don't want to get that phone call. And so, there are times in everybody's business where things get tough and scary. And what are you willing to do to have what you want to have? So, yeah, that's what it's about. Take the risk or get a job. And you can find it on my website at decisiveminds.com. So
excellent. Which leads me to your next question. Well, actually, I want to do that one last. So tell us what you do for fun and relaxation.
Oh, Michele. Yeah. So I work really hard, but I play really hard too. I love to travel. So that's one of the things I do. I also love to dance. I don't know if you know, Heidi, I used to be a competition country western dancer.
Oh, wow.
I actually hold 2 national titles. I took 3rd place at Worlds. That's the best I ever placed at Worlds. But yeah, I love dancing. And what's funny is that the reason I love it is because there's such a challenge in it. I like couples dancing because I like to try to outwit whatever my the guy I'm dancing with wants, right? You got to think in dancing without speaking in dancing. So I find the challenge very fun. I've been dancing, oh my goodness, 21 years now in the country western arena. And now it's just for fun. I stopped competing probably about 9 years ago at this point. So now I just go have fun and go dancing, and absolutely love that. And traveling, oh my goodness, I travel. I enjoy traveling. Always have. When I was a little girl, we got in the motorhome every summer and hit the road for 2 weeks. we were always on going somewhere and seeing exciting places. And I've been to every state in the country in the United States now except Hawaii. So Hawaii's on the list for this year, and that'll finish that off. So,
it is beautiful.
Yeah. So that's what I like to do.
I love to travel too. I've been to all the states and a few countries. What's your favorite place you've ever traveled?
Alaska. I love the Alaskan cruise. I've done it twice. We're going to go do the interior probably in 2017 because I haven't done the Alaskan interior, but just there. So, being from the South where we don't, I'm literally 30 miles from the Gulf Coast. So we don't see snow. We see a little bit of ice, maybe 2 days a year. And so it's really cool to go to those kind of mountainy, snowy kind of places. I love it.
Me too. I'm in Florida.
Yeah, that's right. I forgot. You're in Florida.
Don't see snow.
Rain. Lots of rain. We get rain. So
yeah. Well, but you're still in a beautiful place.
Oh, absolutely.
And you've got the Gulf of Mexico, which is just, to me, is beautiful. It really is. We live in such a beautiful world to begin with, if we can only see the beauty in it. All right. So how can our audience get in touch with you? I can't believe we're almost out of time. So I want to make sure that we get that in and we put that down. And when I do the replay and everything, I'll make sure that I post, the best places. I know decisiveminds.com is one. Is there any others that you'd like to share with us?
Yeah,
I'm going to write.
Yeah. So definitely connect with me through social media. Just look me up, Michele Scism, Michele with one L, and Scism is SCISM. We have a Decisive Minds fan page on Facebook. That would be great. Right now we're doing the Mardi Gras challenge. It's actually starting on Tuesday, and it is a list building challenge. So if you go to decisiveminds.com, you'll see a little box there that says join us for the challenge. It's free, and it would be a great way to connect with us. We're doing it through a Facebook group and doing a lot of things every week to help people build their business or build their list so that they can build their business. So we'll be talking about social media. Last night I was recording the first video, which goes out next Tuesday, and it's all about how to use social media to build your list. So that's a good, cool thing for you to do as well.
And you do these kind of challenges. I participated, I think, in one of your first ones when you did a blog. I think it was a 30-day blogging challenge.
I did the Ultimate Blog Challenge for 4 years. We did it once a quarter for 4 years, and then I sold it, and it's still they're still going strong. And challenges are a great thing to use in your business because it gives people just kind of a feel for what it is that you do and how you work. And so we've done lots of different challenges. We did the blog challenge every quarter for a long time. This year we're doing the list building challenge. Last year we did a challenge to help people write their freebies. We wrote ebooks together. I've got clients that have done social media challenges to help people grow their social media. I have a client that owns Actors Fast Track and works with actors to help them build their businesses. And she does a booking challenge. So you just need to look at your business and say, what is it that your clients really need? And how can you take maybe 4 weeks and help them see some gain, help them get some traction in that area. And you asked me earlier how you can do free stuff working with people. This is a great thing. And it's the fact is it's a strategy to get more people to be in relationship with me so that we can have a conversation about moving on to work in different ways. So yeah, very cool.
And I'm actually interviewing, is it Valerie?
Mm-hmm. Valerie
from Yes, the Actors Fast Track. I get to interview. I think I'm interviewing her at the end of February. So I'm really excited. Thank you for that lead. I agree. I think challenges are wonderful. It's something I haven't done in many years. So now you made me realize that I do a tip of the day on our Women in E-Commerce Facebook group. So I'm going to let them know that that's something they should implement in their business.
Yeah.
And then we'll figure out a way. And I will share, if it's all right with you, I'll share your challenge with everybody. That's a great example because you've been doing it a long time.
I started that in 2011, and because I was in a challenge in 2010 and I loved it. It was actually a blogging challenge, And when it was over, I asked the woman who was leading it if she was going to do it again. And she said, no, it was a lot of work. I said, okay. So I'm telling my coach that one day in a coaching call, and he says, aren't you an entrepreneur? I'm like, yeah, I got it. So I went and created my own challenge.
So what tool do you use to deliver the challenge? Is it basically via email?
Yep. Basically via email. The blog challenge, which is still out there, it's the ultimateblogchallenge.com. They just finished this quarter in January. They'll do it again in 2 months. And that one, you're delivered an email every day and some blogging tips in it. And then there's a Facebook group where you go in, you post your blog, and other people come in and can click on your blog and see your stuff. So it's a real sharing community. The challenge that we're doing right now, the Mardi Gras challenge, we are delivering mostly through email, videos and tips. And then also in the Facebook group, we're doing different things every day. So there's a day for everyone to be able to promote their own stuff. There's today is Thursday. My team, every Thursday, one of my team members will be in the Facebook group there just to answer questions all day. So anyone who's in the challenge who like today, it's my director of marketing. So if somebody has a marketing question, they can go in there and just ask her and get answers today. So every Thursday is a ask the expert kind of thing. So we just looked for what can we do on different days to give people assistance.
Excellent. So what are some of the services that you provide for your clients? Yeah,
what I do is I focus on making more money, right? What they all need. Every time I say that, people go, oh, me, I want in. My gift really is to be able to look at, I'm very strategic. I mean, I have the accounting degree. I love the numbers and I am clear. I know how this works. And so I like to look at what it is that you want to do and figure out how you can make money with it, whether that is you're underpriced and we need to price out, or maybe you need to deliver your services in a different way. And then I create a revenue projection with my clients. And then beyond that, we go into a marketing strategy. So because I have all of that experience and all of that knowledge, we can take it all the way through delivery of products and services. So yeah, it's really fun. I'm a believer that, don't show up and tell me you want $1 million business next year when you're only doing $10,000 a year. I am a believer that you grow in increments. My clients on average double every year. That's our goal, is to double them every year. And so, we want to get you that first 6 figures. And once we're beyond that, then we want to start the doubling. So yeah, very cool.
That is excellent. That is excellent. Michele, it has been such a joy. I always love chatting with you. I've been following you for years, and maybe stalking you is a better word. And I always learn something new from you. So thank you for sharing today, with not only with our audience, with me, and just being so open and such a wealth of information. We've been talking to Michele Scism of Decisive Minds, and I just want to say again, thank you for being with us.
Oh, thanks, Heidi. Thank you for reaching out. So I appreciate it.
I'm thrilled. I want to just tell everybody, I'll leave everybody with this, that our next show will be tomorrow, Friday at 2 p.m. Eastern time, and I'll be talking to Libby Gill. And Libby is a corporate trainer, works with a lot of well-known Fortune 500 companies, and we're going to be discussing your leadership brand and why it matters. So be sure to tune in tomorrow to the EntreprenHer show. And again, it's been a great day. I've really enjoyed speaking with you, Michele, and we will stay in touch. I'll make sure that I post it all, and I'll send you a link when the interview's live.
Great. Thanks.
Have a great day, everyone.
Bye,
Thank
guys.
you.
Bye.
Bye-bye.